This is the way we indoctrinate people, Karsh, right? It's
Like I said, one family at a time.
one family at a time. We're
Yes.
converting them at a
Yes.
time to being
Yes.
Disney Cruise Line devotees, as I like to call us,
Yes.
right?
Definitely.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the DCL Duo podcast brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And as you can tell, when you're hearing my voice, I am solo hosting. Brian is unable to join me today, but I am super excited because I have a wonderful repeat guest with me. Karsh has been on this show before, previously with his wife, to talk about a 7-night Disney fantasy sailing. And we're actually going to talk again tonight a little bit about a different 7-night Disney fantasy sailing, but we're going to do it in a compare and contrast way to another cruise. So Karsh, welcome back to the show. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to have people back who we've had on before. We develop a great rapport. It was more than a year ago that you were on.
It's been more than a year. Yeah. I think it was September 23.
Yeah, that sounds about
September
right.
23. Yeah. So
it was episode 367, I believe. If folks want to go back and listen to this wonderful episode we did with Karsh and his wife Haral about their first Disney cruise, and now you just sailed your third Disney cruise in the fall. Is that right?
That's right.
That's awesome. And you also just came back from a Run Disney weekend. We were talking offline about that, but you are going to have a perfect year in 2025, meaning you are running all of the Disney races coast to coast.
All the races. And I'm going to try and every summer they have the virtual series. I'm going to try and get those as well. And I'm going to try and push a Castaway 5K in there sometime this year, hopefully. So I get everything.
Everything. Oh my God, you're a little nutty. I don't know if anyone's told you this, Karsh.
This is my midlife crisis. This is it. At least it's a healthy thing.
It's a Disney habit and a Disney running habit all in one, and I kind of love that for you. But yeah, let's just be safe. Take it easy. We were talking offline. I know you're going to Princess next weekend. I told you, either walk or jog walk. No running for you, Karsh. Well, let's dive right in. Since I of course mentioned we're actually going to talk about your second and your third cruise on Disney Cruise Line, because they were real close together, meaning only 1 month apart. But before we dive into talking about those two itineraries, remind our listeners again. I know who you sail with, but remind our listeners again who you are sailing with on these cruises.
So for the October cruise, it was the four of us, myself, my wife, and also my, at the time, 9-year-old and then 3-year-old. We also sail with our friends. They have 2 daughters of their own, 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And then in November, again, it was the 4 of us. And then we had taken our neighbors. They have 3 kids. That's three girls. So one 10-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So it was a big party.
Yeah, you're introducing all of your friends now to Disney Cruise Line, and they're looking at you like you guys are the pros, right?
Getting them hooked one family at a time.
One family at a time. I hope you're getting them also hooked on the DCL Duo podcast as well.
Yes, I am. Yes.
All right, fair enough.
After, yes, definitely.
Well, you took a 4-night Wish cruise, I think was your second cruise, and then another 7-night Fantasy as your third cruise. Is that right? And all of these out of Port Canaveral. And remind me where you guys live again.
We live in Maryland.
Okay, so you have your eastern seaboard, but you still have a flight down to Florida. We're going to do a little compare and contrast episode here between a 4-night sailing and a 7-night sailing. Of course, they're 2 different classes of ships, so there's going to be differences based on the class of ships. So we'll focus on both those differences and the differences of obviously the itineraries, and obviously why a 7-night is better than a 4-night, because that's going to be the conclusion I'm prophesizing here a little bit. But why these itineraries? Let's start with the 4-night Wish cruise in October. Why did you choose a 4-night Wish itinerary?
So we did not want to choose a 4-night. We had to choose 4-night because we wanted the family that was going with us, we wanted them to sail with us. They have been diehard Disney fans for decades now. They've been to Disneyland and Disney World. They're DVC members. They're everything, but they had not dipped their toes in DCL. So since we had come back from our first cruise and our minds were blown. So we were telling everyone, we said, hey, this is Disney World-ish, but better. And there's not that much walking. You get all access to all the characters, everything. So you should come with us. And so our friend Percy, he had been in the Navy before, and he just wasn't willing to get back in the water. And I said, Percy, it's okay. Just come. You like Disney. Just come with us. And he said, well, how about a 3-night? I said, no, I am not doing a 3-night. Are you kidding me? And he said, okay, what about a 4-night? I'm like, okay, 4-night is the minimum I will go. Okay. So he said, well, we love Halloween. I'm like, okay, well, let's look up a Halloween cruise. So the first one we saw was October, I think it was like October 12 or something, or 14, October 14 or something. It started on a Monday. It was a 4-night, and 4-night Wish, Halloween, and
was that also the Columbus Day holiday, or Indigenous Peoples Day, depending upon what state you live in? And
yes, it was. So we had the Monday off.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So that's what we had to choose that one because that's the only one they were willing to do.
Yeah. Well, in that way, obviously you have to take your oldest out of school. Your youngest is preschool age, not school age yet, but they're going to miss 4 days of school as opposed to missing 5 days of school. And of course, same with work, right? You have to take off. I mean, those cruises are, one, they're hard to find, or there's not that many of them that fall like that. With the Wish, obviously, if you're doing a 4-night, they're always a Monday to Friday. So it's always a midweek cruise. If you're doing a 3-night, it's always a Friday to Monday. So it's always a weekend cruise, which of course is easier, I think, for folks in particular who live like in Florida, but also, like you said, it's 3-night cruise was just too short.
It's too short. Too short. Way too short.
Now, for the 7-night cruise you chose in November, tell us about that decision making. What itinerary you chose for that? Because obviously the Wish cruise is going to be a Bahamas, Castaway Nassau cruise. But which itinerary did you choose for the Fantasy, and why that one in particular?
So that one, the decision came. I was at my neighbor's about a week after we had signed up for the October one. And I was just telling them how great our cruise was, and I'm looking forward to the one next year, October. And my buddy says to me, like, why do you tell me? And I said, what? And he said, we love cruising. And I said, okay, well, when do you want to go? And I said, well, at first I said, well, we're going in the one in October. Why don't you come with us? And they don't celebrate Halloween. It's against their religion. So I said, well, here's the thing. That's a Halloween one. Do you want to do a Christmas one? And they said, yeah, sure. And they said, that's what the month after. I said, okay. Let me look that up. And it was too close. It was just too close, but it was a great deal. We went through our travel agent, and she booked all of us. In fact, the party was going to be even bigger, but then people kind of dropped off. It was going to be like 19 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
did you sail over Thanksgiving, or did you sail over or Veterans Day, or did you just sail just a random week in November?
That was a Thanksgiving cruise. That was
it was.
That was that Thanksgiving cruise. Yeah. So
that's a fantastic itinerary, because it's just like you already have at least part of it. With some places you have the whole week off. For us here, we only get Thursday and Friday off, and we usually pull Nathan out of school for the whole week because there's really nothing that gets done that Thanksgiving week. But there are, I know, lots of school districts that give the entire week off. So I think that's always a great week to sail. And then, was this an Eastern or a Western?
So this was Eastern. We had done Eastern previously, so we were not concerned, but we didn't want to do Eastern again. But that was the only one that was during Thanksgiving week, and we thought, you know what, we had such great time last time out now, and we learned from it. So this time, it'll be perfect. Like, we'll know what to do, what not to do, and just make the most of it. And it worked out really well, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing the same itinerary twice. I mean, our first and second cruises were the fantasy 7-night Eastern Caribbean itinerary.
Perfect.
We
Yeah.
loved it the first time, and we loved it probably even more the second time. Because as you say, you sort of learn like, oh, I didn't love this excursion, I'll do that one. Or I don't really need an excursion, I'll do something on my own. Or you know what, I feel like I could use another day on the boat and not even get off at this stop, or so I don't think there's anything. I understand that people's tendency is to want to do different excursions, just like people want to do the different ships, right? But I honestly think there's nothing wrong with doing a wonderful
Nothing
7-night
wrong.
Eastern
No, nothing wrong. Of
Caribbean.
course, anytime you're on a Disney ship, it's a great time.
Right.
But we just wanted to do Western Caribbean.
Mhm.
But it's so weird. Like every time we have time off, the fantasy was doing Eastern Caribbean. Every single
Every
time.
single week.
Even in spring break.
Yeah.
And even this spring break, the Treasure.
Yeah.
Our spring break is doing Eastern Caribbean.
Yeah,
And
ours too. It's funny because we still haven't done. We have done some Western Caribbean shorter sailings, like a 4-night and 5-night, mostly the post pandemic or like right after the restart. That went to Costa Maya and Cozumel, but that's not the 7-night itinerary for Western Caribbean. So I still haven't done Grand Cayman or Jamaica, right? Because those are on the regular Western Caribbean, but like same with us. It seems like I mean, I'll be honest, I love the Eastern Caribbean, so I'm never sad that if it works out that way. But our spring break, again, this year, we're going on the Treasure Eastern Caribbean.
It's just stuck in this rut. It's just, I don't know what it is. We want to do Western Caribbean, and
I'm telling you, it's the universe. It's the universe telling you that you're not supposed to, at least not right now.
Guess not. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, I think that's an interesting point you brought up, though, about Halloween on the high seas. I hadn't really thought about it in terms of someone's religion. If they don't celebrate Halloween, Halloween on the high seas is a great itinerary. It's really fun if you like to see the characters dressed up in their costumes, and you get some fun Halloween activities and a lot of guests dress up. But if you are somebody who does not celebrate Halloween for religious reasons, you're probably right. It's probably not the right sailing for that family, because even though it's like one night is sort of the Halloween night that everybody dresses up, there's still like Halloween atmosphere throughout the whole ship, and decorations and the tree lighting and all that kind of stuff. And so it would be a little awkward, especially with a family with kids, if they really want to keep their children away from Halloween celebrations. It's probably not possible on a Halloween on the high seas cruise. So I think that was probably a good
But
call.
they're definitely happy about the Christmas one.
The Christmas theming, yeah. Well, and that's always like fun. So I'm trying to remember your first fantasy sailing. Did that have any theming attached to it, or no?
It was early summer.
Okay,
so
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is cool. So you got to experience, two different theming in the course of 1 month, really, or about 1 month apart. That's super fun. Well, let's talk about some of the differences between. Well, of course, we're going to have theming differences. So setting aside the main, and maybe if we have time, maybe we'll touch on those at the end of the show. But like setting aside the theming differences, let's talk about the differences between a 4-night sailing and a 7-night sailing. Let's start with planning. And both places you're going to be going to Castaway, or both of these itineraries you're going to go to Castaway. But were there any sort of major differences in your planning as far as like what you were going to do, or what you were going to pack, or sort of how busy you wanted to sort of make each cruise?
So for the Wish, it was going to be our first time on the Wish. So we wanted to, and it was only a 4-night. So I always believe in maximizing my time. So I did end up getting, but it's been the third time. So we tried to get Remy first night or Enchante first night in the Wish, because it's always open. I don't know what it is. People don't want
to miss first night rotational dining, especially new cruisers are like, cruisers for sure often new cruisers don't want to miss rotational dining. And I think that's a really good tip for a first time cruiser. Right. But I think you're right. In general, people want to be at rotational dining to meet their dining staff the first night.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got Enchante first night. We got Palo the third morning. second or third
Nice.
morning, which was great.
Yeah. Was that
and
NASA Day or C Day?
That was a C day. So we got lucky with that, definitely. But other than that, I did end up signing up for parasailing at Castaway. I was so excited about that, but then when we got to Castaway, it was just windy. It was too windy.
Of course, it gets canceled. We try to always tell people, like, especially in the fall and winter, like it is very likely to be canceled. You have a little bit of a better chance in the summer because of the weather, but yeah, it's really quite windy. Conditions are not optimal.
But besides that, we ended up getting everything we wanted. We got the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for Pirate Night for the two girls. It felt like, I think because we were silver, we got everything we wanted, which was good, which was great. Wasn't the same case for the Christmas cruise. It booked out too quickly.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you're talking about a Thanksgiving. So both of these had holidays mixed in the sense of, like, you have Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day in the October cruise, and then you've got Thanksgiving in the November cruise. But that's a really good point. For November, you're talking Thanksgiving week, and it's a Christmas maritime sailing. You're going to have probably a fuller ship, and you're going to have higher status Castaway Club members on that sailing, most likely. So it's going to be more pearls and platinums. You got concierge on both, so that's kind of a wash as far as, cabanas, if you're not concierge, are almost impossible, we've realized now in general. But on both of those, on the Thanksgiving one, you're definitely going to have a higher number. But you have a 7-night sailing, so you're a little bit more spread out. Were you able to book adult dining or anything like that on the Fantasy?
For the Christmas one, we were able to get Remy first night, but Paula was booked out. The thing is also, because it was our neighbor's first time, we're regular people. So when my window opened up, everything was open.
Yeah.
But I couldn't book it because I had to book everyone together.
Right.
I had to wait until their window opened.
Yeah.
And by the time the window opened, a lot of stuff was gone.
Yeah.
So that's why we did not end up getting Paulo at all. Like, even when that first day on the ship, we went down to the second floor. There was a tables right there. And I was the second person in line.
Yeah.
And I put down my name, and the cast member said, you're number one in line, and we have 7 days, so it's a pretty sure thing you will get it.
Yeah.
We didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
We didn't get it, which is fine. We had just done Paulo like 3 weeks before, so
right. So it wasn't like it wasn't a huge disappointment, although maybe your friends who hadn't done it yet. So I'm going to give a tip here. My tip would be, the next time this happens, book at least yourself and your wife for Paulo for brunch, even if you can't book your friends who have no status or lower status than you, because I do think it might be easier to move from a 2-top to a 4-top than to move from no top to a 4-top.
Okay.
So that's my tip for next time. I can't guarantee it works, but I do think being already in, and they actually have more 4-person tables, I think, than 2-person tables anyway. But I think that might help. But it's not a guarantee. But I also will warn folks, just to give a little piece of information, even though you were number one, you were probably not actually number one, because as soon as those concierge people request Paulo, they jump in front of you in line. So that's the only thing. I mean, what on board so it's, pre-booking status matters because of when you can book things. Once you're on board, Castaway Club status doesn't matter, right? Like, somebody who's pearl and somebody who's silver or no status, they make the same request. Whoever makes the request first is higher up on the list. But not concierge, because concierge has basically it's like in The Wedding Singer, when Billy Idol says they let people in first class do whatever the heck they want. It's that.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Yeah. So, it's that's one scenario where, Paul, and I think it's really just if you're sailing Thanksgiving, if you're sailing Christmas, those big holidays, they're going to have sort of the most demand and also very unique itineraries. going to have sort of the most demand from those like Pearl and Platinum cruisers. That's going to make it more difficult for lower castaway status. But soon enough, Karsh, I have no doubt that you will be gold. And then soon enough after that, you'll be platinum. So, we just got to keep racking up that status.
I
And
think next year we should be gold. We should be gold.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, the onboard experience a little bit. Let's talk about like activities, right? In a 4-night cruise, I'm imagining you're doing quite a bit, especially on a new ship, doing quite a bit of running around to different activities in different spaces to experience it all. On a 7-night cruise, you can, especially on a ship you've already been on, you can take it a little bit more leisurely. Describe to me, am I thinking of this in the right terms? Is that your 4-night cruise was a little bit busy?
It was extremely busy. We didn't get to see the lighting of the Halloween tree. That we're going from one point to another. By the time we got used to the ship, we were getting off. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. We had no time to. I mean, it's a beautiful ship. It's a beautiful ship. I wish we had more time to just absorb it all, but having 2 young kids, and one is kind of getting to that point where she's not that fond of kids clubs anymore. She wants to, hang out with us more, just do like adult stuff. I mean,
wow.
She had just turned. She was 9 at the time on the Wish.
Yeah.
But she looks like she's 16. She has the brain of a 16.
Yeah, she's 9 going on 16. Oh my God.
So the kids clubs initially on the Wish, because they're bigger, they're more elaborate. She had a good time the first day, but then the second day she said, "Do I have to go to kids club?" I said, "You do, because the little one wants you there as well. She likes seeing you there,
right? Even though they're in different cohorts, right? Because the 3-year-old is with the younger kid group that sort of is a little bit separate. Although they can see each other, but the 3 and 4-year-olds in the kids club are in a specific sort of group.
Yeah, and our 3-year-old is a runner, and she is so fast. And so anytime she would see our 9-year-old, she would run past everyone and go to her. So the older one needed to be there. The little one calm. We felt kind of bad, but our friends had 2 of their own daughters, and they kept them busy, so it was fine.
Well, and that's the good thing about sailing with, another family that has similar age kids, right? Because then your children have sort of built-in friends in the kids, not just in the kids club. I mean, it makes your life easier even on the pool deck and even at dinner and things like that. But especially in the kids club where some kids might be a little bit hesitant to go in for when you're wanting to have, Remy or Enchante or Paulo dinner, brunch, whatever. It's that definitely is an issue. So did you guys do a lot of there's so many activities, of course, going on the Wish, especially, it's sort of crazy when you think about it, even a 3-night or 4-night cruise on the Wish, they're trying to pack in, 7 days of activities into 4 days.
There's so much to do. We didn't get to do anything adult other than the dining. I really wanted to go to the spa. Didn't have time for that. But we did see a lot of characters, a lot of pool time. We did pool time. We decorated the doors. We had a lot of trick-or-treating to do, or not trick-or-treating, but we didn't sign up for the fish extender this time, or these past 2 times, but we had a lot of stuff.
Oh, so you did a lot of pixie dusting then.
We did.
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of it. And then we got pixie dusted as well. We got the fish extenders made for our friends, surprised them with it.
Oh, fun.
So both times, both cruises. So they're very excited about that. They're very happy and grateful for that.
Oh, that's a great idea. So I want to back up and just give people a little bit of explanation and for those who have listened to us or have cruised before, I apologize. This might be repetitive, but I want to tell people what fish extenders are. So fish extenders are essentially these like things you hang right outside your room, and it's a place for people to leave gifts. And fish extender exchanges exchanges are sort of the more formal things that happen in Facebook groups. They are cruiser led, meaning not cruise line led, meaning us customers are the ones who organize these crazy things, and they're gift exchanges. And you put the hanger outside your door, and it hangs off a fish on most of the ships. On the Wish and on the Treasure, they're not fish. The things that are outside your room, but you can sign up for these exchanges, but a lot of people do what's called pixie dusting, which is just random acts of gifting, right? So where you bring a bunch of stuff with you and you go around and you drop it in people's fish extenders. And some people do it anonymously, and some people will leave a little, a tag saying, from room, 2556. And oftentimes that will lead to somebody pixie dusting you back. And just even having a fish extender hanging outside of your room, it is fairly common that you will get pixie dusted with something. It doesn't mean like you'll get something really, expensive, but maybe you'll get a duck in your fish extender, or some stickers, or some temporary tattoos, or some candy for. And so it's a fun way of sort of getting involved in your cruise without a lot of pressure. Pixie dusting, I think there's a little bit more pressure for the formal exchanges because you are having to plan, and there's usually information exchanged ahead of time so that you can plan more personalized gifts. But it's really fun when you introduce new cruisers to the concept of fish extenders and pixie dusting, because they're not expecting any gifts. They
had no idea.
Right.
Yeah. We just asked them. We asked them who their favorite characters were. And what their favorite colors were, and that's it. And then we just had them made on it was at Etsy or something.
Yeah.
And it's such a we were so nervous because I think there was some storm or something, and the ones that we had made for both cruises, they were delayed, and they came the day before sailing out.
Oh gosh! So right before you're flying to Florida.
The day before we were flying out to Florida. That's when they came, and we were so nervous.
Yeah,
but we got them, and then we didn't say anything until we had magnets made for them as well, door magnets as well. With their names, or they were customized as well with their names and everything. One was a Halloween themed, one was Christmas themed. We had a package ready for both families once we got to our rooms, and we just said, "Hey, here you go. Happy Halloween or Merry Christmas, and here you go." And they're like, "What is this?" And we said, "Open it up. Let's see." And they were just their minds were blown. Like, "Whoa, this is amazing."
This is the way we indoctrinate people, Karsh, right? This, it's
like I said, one family at a time.
One family at a time. We're converting them at a time to being Disney Cruise Line devotees, as I like to call us, right?
Definitely.
I love that. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the sort of level of activities that you guys did on the Fantasy, because obviously 7-night, 4-night, right? What was sort of the pace like on the Fantasy, and what kinds of things were you able to participate in, or what did you, what did you miss also?
So our focus for the Fantasy was, it was twofold. We wanted to get our neighbors into Disney cruising. So we wanted to introduce them to everything and why we prefer to do just Disney cruising. We had options to do Royal Caribbean, and since I'm a veteran, Margaritaville at sea has free sailings.
Yeah, I just saw on social media a couple of friends of ours, actually one of whom went to high school with Brian. She and her husband are both veterans, and shout out to all the veterans. Thank you for your service, and to you, Karsh, especially. But they just went on Margaritaville for free, and they also had lots of veterans activities, even like meetups and things like that, and of course so yeah, you have to explain to people, right, why Disney Cruise Line when you got to pay this big price tag versus you could sail for free or reduce on other cruise lines.
So we had to convince them, hey, this is, first, we want to indoctrinate them into this, because they had been on Royal Caribbean before and they had enjoyed it, and they had been on it twice, maybe Celebrity one time. So they love cruising, but they had never gone. They had gone to Disney World one time and are not Disney fanatics, but by the end of the 7 nights, they were just enamored with Disney cruising. just
Oh,
just in love with
interesting.
it.
So
So
they're Disney curious, as we like to say.
they
'Cause
are.
I feel like
Yes.
Disney Cruise Line, it is for Disney fanatics who like to
Hmm.
cruise, but it is also for the Disney, curious who like to
Right.
cruise,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like if you're anti-Disney, probably Disney Cruise Line
It
is
wouldn't work
not
for you.
for you. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
And then the second thing we want to do was relax because we had some tough time at work, and I wouldn't say our wish cruise left a bad taste in our mouth, but we didn't enjoy it as much as we wanted to. So we wanted to make up for that. So we all four of us had signed up for the Rainforest Room, and I know you're not a fan. I know Brian's a fan.
I love this for
Yeah,
you though. I think
yeah.
listen, I think if you're gonna if you like the Rainforest Room,
Mhm.
it is worth it to do it on a 7-night cruise. I'm
Yes.
just not sure the value is there on a shorter cruise, and I'm personally
Right.
just not that into it. But it's like
Okay.
I have no hate on others who love it. Like I just don't know that, like I said, I don't know for a shorter cruise that the value's there because for me, I'm trying to pack in all the things, right? And just like you did your wish cruise, like I'm running from activity to activity. I'm not going to have any time. Maybe I'll go to the rainforest for an hour, and then of course it's not worth it if you only spend an hour. Yeah.
No, we went every day, sometimes twice a day. And we did all the baths, we did all the steam rooms, the dry sauna, and we made one mistake. And the cast members are so forgiving. So we had gotten the algae package. So you just while you're in a sauna, you get the algae scrub, and then you rub it all over you. And then after a while, after being in the steam sauna for some time, you go and shower. And so we had bought one each, but we didn't know that it was just a one-time thing. So every time we went, we
Oh,
asked for it, and they gave it to us. And then on the last
and then
day,
they charge you for it.
no, they didn't. That's the
Oh,
thing. So on the sixth day, the cast member said, you signed up for this one time, and
oh,
we
funny.
weren't supposed to give it to you, but I mean, no one else is getting it, so that's what we've been giving it to you.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even
But
know.
but you're not supposed to have it, 6, 7 times. And we're like,
Oh,
oh,
funny.
we had no idea. We thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just it came every time we
You just
came
thought it
there.
came with the package, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But no, it was a one-time thing, just one
Okay.
thing.
Well, that's good to know because I'll be honest, I never, I think I've gotten a scrub there like one time, but um, I don't really remember. That was years and years ago because I really don't do the Rainforest Room and haven't in years. But yeah, I wouldn't have known that detail either. I don't think unless
Yeah,
they,
I had no idea. No
specifically tell
idea.
you.
Yeah, so
That's
yeah,
so
definitely
funny.
definitely ask. Definitely ask.
Yeah.
Are you listening to our show because you want to make the most out of your next vacation? Great news! The fabulous team over at My Path Unwinding Travel can help guide you so you don't miss a thing. Their team of professional travel advisors are caring, knowledgeable, and experienced. It's why we use them to book our own travel. My Path Unwinding Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means they are recognized by Disney for their expertise and service. They have sailed on all the Disney ships, including in concierge, visited the theme parks, adventured with Disney, relaxed at Aulani, and so much more. Whether it's a Disney cruise, a theme park vacation, or adventures by Disney, or if you are looking to expand beyond the mouse, My Path Unwinding Travel will elevate your next vacation planning experience. Even if you have already booked, reach out for a complimentary consultation to make your vacation even more magical. Ready to talk to the experts? Head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. Thanks, My Path Unwinding, for sponsoring today's show. Now back to the episode.
Yeah.
Well, how did the kids do with the kids club on the fantasy? I'm curious. Obviously it was a longer cruise, and because you were doing the Rainforest Room, the kids have to, go there. At least the 3-year-old. I mean, the 9-year-old you could probably leave in the room for a couple hours and then they'd be fine. But well, depending upon how mature your 9-year-old is. But you said she's like 9 going on 16.
Oh,
so
definitely. She's
probably,
very mature.
yeah.
Very
So she could
mature.
hang out in the room by
Yeah.
herself. But
Yeah.
yeah. So how did that go on the fantasy cruise?
So our neighbors have the 2 older girls and then 1 younger. So the younger one hung out with our young one. So she was fine. They had a great time together, and she didn't feel like coming back really. In the October one, she was kind of done with it on day 2. But we just dropped her off, and we said, okay, it's just for a little bit, and then she gets distracted easily, so it was fine. The 7-night one. The 2 girls are our older one's best friends. So she was okay. She was completely okay. They go to school together, they're they were
Again,
all
it's all
together.
about getting them to sail with friends, and you get a better you get more compliance with the kids club if they've got their friend
Right,
built in.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We I know a funny story, but I'm not sure where you want it.
Yeah,
It's
I love
okay.
it.
So because the three were at the time 10, 10, and 9 years old, the first night we had Remy first night, right? So we had thought, okay, let's get the girls full on pool deck food, and then we'll drop them off at the kids club, or even room service. And so we got the two young ones full. The older ones didn't want to eat yet because they had a snack before. We had eaten at Cabanas earlier that day, so they weren't hungry. So we thought, you know what? Okay, they're old enough. We're gonna send them to rotational dining on their own.
I love it. I
And
love it so
it
much.
was their first time ever. Like we came to, I think it was the Royal Palace. Royal
Royal
Garden.
Court or Royal Palace.
Royal Court.
Yeah.
Right? Royal Court. So
Yeah.
Royal Court. We came down the elevators, and with all six of us. So we dropped the two off at the kids club already, and we're walking towards the restaurant, and then the adults stopped, and the girls were like, "Well, what's going on?" And we said, "Go.
Yeah.
This is our table number. Go."
Yeah.
And they said, "What do you mean?" We're like, "We're not coming with you."
Yeah,
We're
you
dressed
just go
up.
tell them, right?
Yeah,
you tell
like,
the
we're
wait
dressed
staff.
up. You're not, so you can't come with us anyway. So like, that's not fair. And we said, "Look, we're going to adult dining. You girls are old enough. We trust you, and they'll take care of you. This is a Disney cruise. You're
Right.
safe. You're safe. Everyone's safe. Just go tell them."
Right, but they've never been to a restaurant by themselves on land, right? So it's like to them, it's like mind blown.
Yeah,
I love it.
they had a mind blown. They didn't know what to do. They went in. We saw them just go in, and then they're taken to the table. The next day, when we went to our rotational dining, and we finally met our servers and them. They said, "Oh, okay. These are the parents." Oh, okay. We were so confused yesterday that we didn't know how to react. But then these three are very mature. They knew what they wanted. They ordered everything, and they were very well behaved. And we said thank you very much. Yeah. But the girls were just just flabbergasted. They're like, "What do you mean you're not coming with us?" It was their first time, so there was. But even when we came back to rotational dining, they would still ask us like, "Hey, what do we order? What do we order?" So this was like the first time, but they had a good time.
I love that. I actually think it's such a wonderful thing for kids to kind of get that level of independence to like go to, obviously on land, we wouldn't send them to a restaurant by themselves. I mean, unless it was maybe if you lived next door to a restaurant or it was a family restaurant or something like that, right? But it's so wonderful. I mean, we've done this with Nathan, with friends, where we've decided, all right, you guys go to dinner. We're going to Paulo or Remy or Enchante. Like, have a great dinner. And we've also done the, pool deck food or whatnot. It just kind of depends on what they're in the mood for. But I think it's great because when I'm in the restaurant with Nathan, like, I feel like I just can't help myself but get involved in whatever his food order is going to be. I mean, it's going to be Mickey's mac and cheese, but I still I'll answer for him. And Brian always just has to remind me like, no, like the kid is 11, like he can order for himself. Like you don't need to order for him any longer. But when I'm not there, then it's like, he has to do it, right? He has to and it's so good because there's going to be a time, and it's coming sooner than later, right? Where he's going to have to go into a store by himself, or he's going to have to go into a restaurant by himself and order for himself or do a transaction by himself. And he's not going to be able to lean on mommy or daddy or grandma or somebody, right, to help him through it. He's going to have to problem solve like, oh, I got to interact with this stranger who is, a retail worker or a waiter or waitress or somebody, And so it's such a good lesson. I love that for them. And I feel like on Disney Cruise Line, you can do it at a younger age than you could ever do.
We felt very safe. We felt very safe doing that.
I love that.
Because we knew that the cast members would take complete care for them, see to their needs. And sure enough, like the next day when we went in, whatever drinks Dad ordered the night before. They're
We're ready.
waiting for us. They're waiting for us.
I
So
love it.
It was great.
I love it. Like they're like, Sprite or whatever is like there, and then you're ordering your drink for the first
Yes,
time. It's
exactly.
actually it's hilarious. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, let's talk about shows. You had obviously on the Wish only 4 nights, but of course 3 main stage shows, and on the Fantasy 7 nights, but again 3 main stage shows. You get more variety acts, and often movie night and things like that on these longer sailings. But how was that? Like, one, did you go see all the shows on these cruises, and two, how was it as far as with a shorter sailing versus a longer sailing?
So we did do all the shows. I believe it was Aladdin and Little Mermaid, I believe, on the Wish. We enjoyed them. We always enjoy these Broadway shows.
Did you do Seize the Adventure too?
No, we don't. No, I think that's the last day.
Oh, it's either. Well, it was usually the first night. Oh, it's probably the first night you were at Enchanté.
Enchanté, yeah.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah,
Maybe it was that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a shorter show than the other. Not every itinerary do they do it the same way, but usually Seize the Adventure is on the first night. It's on both the Wish and the Treasure, and it will be on the Destiny as well. It's a great little show. I actually think it's a really good one for younger kids because it's shorter, and it's a really it's a fun one. So you went to both of those shows. What did you think? Because they were Aladdin wasn't new for you because Aladdin
I've seen Aladdin
the
before.
Fantasy.
Yeah. I feel like, and nothing on the cast members, I felt like the actors were better on the Fantasy. That's just what I thought. I actually fell asleep. I mean,
during which one?
During I think the second one was the Aladdin show. Yeah, that's when I fell asleep.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but I love the story. I love the story. I love the way they do everything. And I was awake for the one in November. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe I was just tired.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But
and then did you go on the Fantasy? Did you go to all the shows, which would have been Frozen, Aladdin, and Believe?
So we didn't see Believe. I mean, so Believe was Castaway Day night.
Mm-hmm.
And we try not to do anything like that, do any shows, especially because we have
the last night of the cruise, right?
Yeah. And because I remember the last time, or on our first cruise, we did go see, we tried to do something that day and after Castaway or after coming back from Castaway. I was after dinner. We tried to do something. And I remember we had to get the bags out by 10:30, and it was such a rush. So we thought, okay, this time we're not going to do anything. After dinner, we're just going to come back and pack. Once we're done packing, then if anything's open, anything's available, we'll do it. So that's what we ended up doing. We had adjoining rooms, and we left the girls in the rooms. The 2 young ones were asleep anyway. The 3 older ones were hanging out. And the adults went back to the Rainforest Room. And then after that, we went on a walk. That's one of the things I love about the Fantasy is Deck 4. It's all connected and can just keep on walking. And I was, preparing for my Run Disney run walks anyway. So it was good. We got the walks in. We got a lot of walks in. So we didn't do anything that day, that night.
Well, and I'll be honest, I do think it is hard to go see the show on whatever the last night of the cruise is, whether it ends up being Castaway Day or even a sea day. It's just hard because you want to get your stuff. I mean, I don't want to walk off with my belongings because I'm an overpacker chronically. And so I need time to organize and pack everything to be out by, to have it out of the room by 10:30, as you mentioned. And so that it is hard. If it's a sea day, you can do your packing a little bit earlier. But if it's a Castaway day, you want to take advantage of Castaway. So it's certainly hard things to do. I'm curious how you felt about rotational dining, on a 4-night cruise versus on a 7-night cruise, because obviously on a 7-night cruise, every restaurant you go to twice. And at least on the Fantasy, you have 2 different sort of experiences in Animator's palette. You don't have a show in the other 2 restaurants on the Dream class ship, so on the Fantasy and the Dream. Whereas, of course, on the Wish, you've got shows in 2 of the restaurants, but you only go to each restaurant one time, and then you get a second You get to go to a second restaurant or one restaurant twice, but for a pirate night. So it's not, it doesn't have its own show or theming or anything like that. But yeah, I'm curious how you felt about the fact that you only go to a restaurant really once on the Wish versus on the, on a 7-night cruise, you go twice.
That was one of our biggest gripes about the 4-night cruise. In the previous 7-night one and the second 7-night one, we really got to know our servers, right? For the 4-night one, obviously we weren't there for the first night. We did Enchante. So we only had them for like 2-3 nights. And first night we had the Marvel restaurant. Right?
So you missed the Marvel show.
We missed that one.
Yeah.
So we had the Arendelle one twice, because the night 3 was Pirate Night. So we had that. And then we were in 1923 one time. And I know the cast members were trying. I would never blame the cast members, but they just don't have the time to get to know you at all. And I really feel bad for the 3-night ones because they, it's just,
especially with Arendelle.
Right. It's just a blur for them. And Arendelle, it was a normal night. And it was so loud. We couldn't hear anything.
Right. So you can't really like chat and get to, if your first night meeting your servers is in Arendelle, like, because obviously you skipped Marvel, you don't, I mean, the show is going on most of dinner with obviously some pauses, but like you really can't get to know your serving team that night at all. Yeah.
And they were trying, but I remember one of their names, and that's it. It was Miss Precious from South Africa, and that's it. I don't know. I don't remember any other names at all. Like I know they tried, but they didn't leave an impression on us because I know they were trying, but it was just so much going on. It's so chaotic.
Yeah, it's such a whirlwind. Yeah,
yeah. We didn't get to know them at all. That was our number one gripe about it, and the food. We enjoyed the food at Arendelle. It was good. 1923, we enjoyed that as well. We wish we had tried the Marble one, but it is what it is.
Well, if you're going to get on the Treasure, you'll get the Marvel. Don't tell me yet, but you'll get the Marvel show, both Marvel shows on the Treasure. And it's the first Marvel show is the same as the one on the Wish. So nothing that you will have missed if you're deciding to go on the Treasure sometime soon. I will give another tip out there for people sailing on the Wish. Whatever your first, and I hope not everybody takes my tip because then it'll kind of screw people up, but whatever your first night on the Wish is, if you request 1923, you'll have a little bit of a quieter experience and be able to get to know your servers a little bit more. I especially recommend that for folks with any kind of like food intolerances or food allergies. I think requesting a rotation that starts at 1920, this wouldn't have worked for you anyway because you did Enchante the first night. But in general, I think whatever your first night that you're going to have your servers, your main dining servers, having 1923, like I said, especially if you have any food allergies or food intolerances, is probably the best course of action because you will have a little bit more time to kind of talk to them, and because you don't have a show that's going to interrupt that experience. So
I think for us, it would have been better as well if it was 1923 the first night because, like I said, it was just so loud in Arendelle. We were trying to listen to the music. We were trying to listen to our kids just, going on. And then the servers were trying to talk to us. And we couldn't focus on any one thing.
Right.
These, I can't. So I know my wife, she's multitasker. She can do everything. But for myself, I couldn't focus on, I had to do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And for me, my main goal is my 3-year-old eating food? Because I want her fed because if she's not fed, she turns into a demon. So I need her fed.
I love it. Listen, all of us, a lot of us turn into demons if we're not fed. I'll be perfectly honest. I can get pretty demonic if I'm not fed either. Well, Karsh, I feel like we could go on and on comparing and contrasting of a 4-night cruise and why, of course, a 7-night cruise is better. But I'm curious to ask whether would you book a 4-night cruise again? Now, having gone on 2 7-night cruises, having gone on 1 4-night cruise on an admittedly beautiful class of ship, right? But would you book a 4-night cruise again?
No.
Interesting.
Because I feel like maybe 5 nights would have been better. Like I said, like by the time we really got to know the ship, we were leaving. So just in the 7 nights, so 7 night one, our first time there, our first time on the Fantasy in 2023, we really got to know the ship on like day 3, and then we had 4 more days on it. So we really enjoyed it. And the second time around, we knew the ship and we knew where to go and what not to do. So it was way, way better. But I feel like if we had 5 nights, would have been better. We would have been able to enjoy the ship more and just look at things, the art on the ship.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The
There's so
cast
much
members. Yeah,
so much beautiful stuff to see.
Right, and just connect with the cast members.
Mhm.
And and even the cast members had told us that we on 3 nights and 4 nights we don't really get to know the guests that much, which is sad. Because these guys are on these ships for 6 months, 4 to 6 months at a time. And on the 7 night cruise, they really get to know these families, and we have a great time with them. We connect with them. They make core memories for the kids. They really do. But I feel like on the Wish, the cast members don't get the chance to do that. That's what we saw. It might not be the same for everyone else, but this is our experience.
Yeah. Now, do you think there is a place for a 4 night cruise, or a person for whom a 4 night cruise is, though, maybe the right choice? I know it's not, obviously, I think you've concluded it's not the right choice for your family. That minimum probably needs to be 5 nights, with obviously a preference for 7.
Yes. 7
but-
and above, yes.
Yeah, and above, right? I mean, the longer the cruise, the better, right? But do you think there is a cruiser for whom this is the right length of cruise?
Perhaps for the Disney curious, who know Disney, or just who are DCL curious, who have been to Disney World a lot, know Disney, have grown up with it like we have, and they're just curious. They've never been on a cruise before, or they did when they were young, and now they have families, or they're just Disney adults and just want to do something different. That's it feels like a concentrated version experience of Disney. It is as chaotic as you want to make it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like for a parks person, a 4 night cruise might not actually feel that chaotic. I mean, because it's still less chaotic than a parks day. That's how, sort of on the range of chaos. I would put parks is still ahead of even a 4 night or a 3 night cruise.
Definitely.
Not a lot ahead of a 3 night cruise, but still ahead of a 3 night.
Yeah, our friends that were with us on the Wish, they're the parks people, the hardcore parks people. They go 5-6 times a year, right? So they're hardcore parks people, and they enjoyed the Wish. And then they told us, we're going to Wish again. I'm like, not until
Nope.
it's an itinerary.
Well, see, that's perfect, though. I think you're right. It's the first time cruisers, hardcore parks people who are cruise curious, or people who are DCL curious, but not and haven't aren't sure if a cruise is going to be the right vacation for them. I do think the Wish tends to cater the best to first time cruisers. And people who are worried about seasickness and all of those kinds of things. Do you think that you would consider a back-to-back type cruise that maybe was a 4 night cruise as opposed to for example, we're obviously going on the Destiny over Thanksgiving, and it's actually the maiden voyage and then Thanksgiving back to back, and it's 2 4 night cruises. Of course, our preference is like yours, the longer the better. And so if it's a 4 night cruise, of course, back to back is the solution. But for us, do you think that might be a solution, or is that not quite good enough? And I say that only because a back to back cruises, you're still kind of missing part of a good chunk of that middle day, that disembarkation, embarkation day that's in the middle.
I think if it went to different destinations, for example, if we did an Eastern and then Western back to back, we can do that because we love getting off the ship and seeing places that we haven't been to before. And so we did. So we love getting off at St. Thomas, and Tortola, and of course Castaway. If it was the 3 night and the 4 night for the Wish, it would be Castaway and Nassau again. Well, we didn't get off at Nassau this time. That was our pool day. We did the Daco Mouse a few times. So not for us. Not for us, definitely. I think if it went to a different location, like if 3 nights was in one direction, 4 nights was in a different direction, then maybe, but not the same one. No.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Well, I'm not going to do a rapid fire because I know we did a rapid fire with you and Haral on our last episode. And I've asked you obviously some questions, some follow-up questions at the end here about what is your, ideal cruise and whether or not obviously 4 night is in your future. And I understand it's probably not, at least not right now. But I'm curious to ask you, what is in your future, Karsh? I am sure you've got a placeholder or something booked.
We did. We got 2 placeholders on both
Nice.
of the ships.
Wow. That's a lot of placeholders.
Yeah. We are looking at Alaska next year, early next year.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. We thought everything's melting, so we need to go there.
Yeah, we need to get there soon. I know. Well, it's funny, people keep asking. We actually had a question in, I think, our Facebook group just this week about, a family trying to choose between Caribbean and Alaska, and they have young kids. And I actually recommended Caribbean. It's their first cruise, and so I recommended Caribbean because I think or maybe it wasn't first cruise. I can't remember, but. I recommend the Caribbean because the kids are on the young side. Obviously, your youngest is on the young side. I'd say your oldest is kind of, I think, great age for Alaska. But yeah, what makes you want to pull that trigger on Alaska?
It's a thing. So we've done Caribbean 3 times now. Yeah, 3 times now, and we were waiting for a little bit until the younger one got until like she was like 6, 7 to really enjoy Alaska. But our neighbors who got hooked, they asked us
after one cruise.
After one cruise, they said, "Okay, where are we going next?" And we said, "Well, we wanted to do Western Caribbean, and the Treasure is going to be doing that." And they saw the videos of the Treasure, and they were just enamored. Like, this is be gorgeous. And I said, "Yes, it is. We need to do this." So they said, "Okay, well, we can either do that or early summer next year." Or Alaska. So we said, okay, let's leave it. Let's see when the next itineraries come out, which they came out.
Which they just came out this past week. Yeah.
And
or 2 weeks ago now, maybe.
So we're looking at them and we're just thinking, Caribbean is not going to go anywhere, but we think everything's melting. So maybe let's do Alaska and get that out of the way. And then the one after that will be the Treasure. Because what we've read, and I feel like it's accurate, at least for us, that if it's a new ship, maybe give it 6 to 9 months at least to work out all the kinks. Stuff happens, it's fine. That stuff happens. Let them work it out, and then we'll go, and then it'll be like a well-oiled machine. Everything will be running really well.
Yeah. Although I will say the Treasure was pretty well oiled on its maiden voyage. I mean, it was kind of shocking, like how well that thing was running. Even on the preview cruise I was on. So I generally agree with you. I think that's a good rule of thumb. I mean, obviously we're going to get on as soon as possible because we want to tell our community all about it. And we've got to stay current and make sure make sure we're on everything early. But then we got to go on it again because we got to see it when it's more of a well-oiled machine. But I will say the Treasure. Yeah. So I think, listen, neither is a mistake. I think both options are fantastic. I think you're going to love whichever one you end up pulling the trigger and booking.
Well, now it's going to be Wonder and Magic going to Alaska. But so we saw that, and because of listening to you guys and everything, we want to go on the Wonder, So we're looking at that. We haven't made the decision yet, but it's going to be soon. It's very soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear all about it. You'll obviously have to come back on the show to talk about it, Karsh. It's so lovely to have you again.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think the verdict here, for those who maybe don't realize, but the verdict here is the longer the cruise, the better.
Yes.
Period. The end.
Overall, the whole overall experience is just better. It's just better.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Karsh.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks to everyone out there for listening this week. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep getting great content from us every week. In fact, twice a week we publish shows, so be sure to hit the subscribe button to get all of those great episodes. And if you want to watch us live, we have a live show now every week, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, over on youtube.com/DCL Duo. So be sure to head over and check that out. If you want to help support the show, be sure to hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave us a written review, a 5-star written review, we will read it at the top of one of our main episodes. So please head over there and hit those 5 stars. Of course, you can also help support the show by supporting our fabulous show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. If you want to book your next Disney vacation, head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email them at dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. If you've got questions or you'd like to connect with us, the best way to do that is to head over to dclduo.com. It's got links to all of our things, full catalog of the podcast episodes, including a searchable catalog for the podcast, links off to our vlog, a link to our Etsy store where we sell some fun fan-inspired magnets, link to our Patreon if you'd like to help directly support the show each and every month. Just head over to the website or patreon.com/DCL Duo. Also has a way for you to sign up for our Substack newsletter that we're hoping to start really pumping out monthly here at least, and a few blog articles that we've written. So dclduo.com is the best way to connect with us. You can also, of course, email us at info@dclduo.com or reach out to us on our voicemail line at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The DCL Duo podcast is not affiliated with Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Company, or the Disney family of theme parks. The views expressed on the show are solely those of the individuals on the podcast and in no way reflect the views of the Disney Company or Disney Cruise Line. If you have questions about a Disney cruise or a Disney vacation, please contact the great folks over at My Path Unwinding Travel or Disney directly, or your own travel agent. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.